Morning, guys. How's it going? Good morning to everybody. Dave's long the footsie already. Nice one, Dave. Guys, I tell you what, I had an absolute freaking nightmare yesterday. I don't even know how this has happened, right? And I don't know if any of you noticed, but I went live yesterday without knowing about it. Now, I can't believe this has even happened. I thought I pressed record, right, on my OBS software, and I actually pressed start streaming. Now, I thought that I had to set up a live stream with YouTube. I didn't think that if I pressed start streaming, it would automatically load a live up on YouTube. I thought I had to do that manually first on YouTube and set a live stream up and then press record on OBS. Then press live on OBS, but it doesn't work like that. So the live stream that you've seen yesterday, I didn't even know that you guys were watching. I didn't know that I was getting any comments. I didn't know that anybody had been notified because that was just like my first edit of a record, like the recording of the Bitcoin video. Now, I am so glad that you guys got that one and not the one that I did before that, because I was swearing. I was like sitting back in my chair like this, like, because I couldn't get it right. I kept on saying like the wrong thing at the wrong time. So you will have been looking at that video thinking, he keeps on stopping and like saying this random shit. And I was like, honest to God, it was so close. It was so close to like catching me out. I could have been like pecking my nose. I could have been calling like, because like I kept on getting it wrong. I was like, you stupid cunt, why do you keep saying this? Like, what do you keep saying these wrong words for? Because I find it really tough to record. It's so much different than like having a live stream where people are like saying to you, you know, like commenting, and the part of the live stream, the comments are, so it's sort of, it helps you along. Whereas the recording side of it is absolutely, it really is tough. I take my hat off that anybody can just do it, because I'm trying to do it all in one go without editing it, because it's so tough to stitch it all together and get it look right. But I had about 5 or 6 goes at it again yesterday, and I got everyone wrong, but on one of them, I must have pressed start streaming rather than start recording. So I wake up this morning, and my wife's following me on YouTube. She says, "Oh, I've got a thing of a live stream you did yesterday." She's like, "I didn't know you did one." I'm like, I didn't know I did one. So I'm looking at it, and like as I'm looking at it, my whole brain and body is filling with dread, because I know one of these live streams yesterday, like I think I could have been pecking my nose. I had my head in my hands like this on my desk, thinking like, just get it right, you moron. You keep on saying the wrong thing all the time and upsetting the rhythm of the video. And I was just hoping, I was praying to God that it wasn't that one, and thank God it was one that wasn't too bad, and it sort of went okay. But that isn't the video that I wanted to put out. If you hadn't noticed, I hadn't changed any of the titles or anything. It should have been called like, if I would have released the video properly, it would have been called like Bitcoin strategy that you can make whatever with. I didn't give you the actual stats for it, because at that time when I was recording it, it was just an edit, and I didn't have any of my notes with my stats on or anything like that. And I'm so glad. I could have done myself so much damage yesterday with that, because at one point I had my top off. I was warm because I was sat here, the radio was on. I took my top off. I was all flustered because I kept getting it wrong, and you would have seen me with like, oh my God, it was just ridiculous. It could have been the end of me. If you would have seen the one with my top off with me swearing and stuff like that, I don't think I would have ever come online again. I think I would have just gone and just give it all up, seriously. So it was in that room watching that live. Well, I'm so sorry I didn't reply to anybody, because I didn't know anybody was watching. It was such an odd situation. But I just like went downstairs, thought, no, I haven't got it right again today. I'm gonna have to jump back on it tomorrow, because I'm not very good at editing it all, you see. So I need to get it right in one go. But obviously it's so tough to do, to explain everything properly and get your point across, when you've got no sort of other people jumping in to sort of bounce back off. It really is tough to get the recording right. And how all of them do it is they all edit it. But I don't want to do that. I want to do it all in one go. But it wasn't quite right. There's a few points on it that I just wanted to change. So I pulled the video as soon as I saw it this morning. I pulled it. So if you watched it yesterday, you will have seen me pull it. Now the reason that I pulled it is because it's not quite right, and obviously it's not. It just wasn't how I wanted it to be. So I'm sorry. I am sorry about what happened, but I needed to explain. It's just a massive mistake, and I honestly didn't realize if you press stream on your OBS. Like, my YouTube wasn't even set up to go live or anything, and it just automatically went live. So it's a learning curve for me, and it's something that I won't be doing again. But I'm so pleased, honestly, because there was one of them videos where I just looked like an absolute idiot. You would have been laughing your heads off. It would have been the worst thing ever. So yeah, so it's off now. I pulled it off, but there will be one coming on this week. It is tough though. So yes, that is the basics of it though, guys. Them indicators that I use and stuff like that. They are the proper strategy. That is how it works. It is a Doncha and a 200 and an opening range like above and below it with a CCI. That's not what I use on my DAX, by the way, just so that everybody's aware of that. It's not. It's similar in some ways, but I don't use them indicators. So it's just something that I looked at on Bitcoin, and it does work on Bitcoin. That strategy is a good strategy. You thought it was Monday. Yeah, I know, man. I'm so sorry, Lawrence. I really am. I felt like such an idiot this morning. You know, like when she clicked on the video this morning, I was sitting there thinking, oh my God, this could be horrendous. And I'm just so thankful that it was sort of okay. But I think there was a few points in it where, there was a few points in the video, if you noticed yesterday, where I just went quiet and silenced, and I was like, I couldn't get what I needed to say right, so I started again. So you might be thinking he's got some sort of like personality disorder, this guy. Is he like bipolar or something? Like, it doesn't look right. Well, that was the point. It was supposed to be a recording. So yeah, it just was so strange. So strange. But good morning to everybody anyway. How are you doing? Let me get these Bollinger Bands off. Let me just move off this and pull them off so I can see what's going on. I had a losing day Friday. Not afraid to admit it. Now, you might say excuses or whatever for why I didn't get my first entry. Ian, the ledge that's been trading sort of with me for a while now, and I'm not saying like, yeah, I've never, you know, he just trades with me basically, so I'm not like his mentor or anything like that. He's very capable of trading the DAX on his own, but he just uses something similar to how I use it. He got the right entry right. And I even tweeted to somebody in this area, I think the DAX is coiling for a go at these highs. But at 12 o'clock, I had a phone call off somebody. Now, I was watching it on my phone go up, and I knew that I should have been long at this point. My strategy should have been long in here. I didn't get the entry because I had a pretty important phone call to answer, and I just didn't get it. It had just gone by the time I'd actually looked at my phone again to see us break out and had my alert come through. It was slightly too late. So what I did was I waited for this pullback, and I'm thinking to myself, right, okay, I'm thinking about longing this, right? Why? Because we've broken back through this level here. It looks like we could have an expansion day, and I thought this turnaround here, it's one of my playbook setups on the Dow where you see us getting like a drive out of a consolidation, like this point here, this leg here, and then what happens is into the US session we get a rollover, and this exact setup here, it can be very profitable because if we do expand to the upside, and we get the expansion, then what normally happens is this whole leg here, it's like a measured move target, and we get a completely a new leg up which expands normally and goes like a measured move target, and it will normally sort of run for at least this amount, like so. So I'm thinking to myself, in here, on this pullback, this thing, although it's coming off, once we get back above this level and we reclaim and we get this green candle here, I'm thinking we're off to the races, this thing's going to expand. I should have been long in here, I wasn't. Life does get in the way of trading sometimes, and it's just exactly what happened. It was an important phone call, and I think we broke out at 5 minutes past 12. I think the phone call happened at 2 or 3 minutes past 12, and I was on WhatsApp as well at that time, and I generally just missed it, but Ian got it. I think he's in here this morning. I think he was long at 66s. He sent me the tweet saying, we're getting long at 66s, and I was like, yeah, that's part of the strategy. That is the trade. 66s was the trade. He got it. Now, his day turned out different than mine because he moved his stop to 2R profit and then got stopped out for 2R profit. Once he went into 2R profit, he moved his stop to break even, and he got stopped out for break even in this point here. I think he did take a scale in here though. Whereas my day, because I took the second entry and I didn't get the first one, it meant that I got stopped out for a full 1R stop or a 2% stop. So I think I lost about 65 quid all in all, so around that mark, and I got stopped out. Now, at the end of the day, there was nothing that I could do about that, poor from me that I wasn't able to be in front of my computer at that exact time, but it was a phone call that I couldn't miss. I needed to be on it, so it was one of them things. So I am down, as you've seen. I think my account was at like about 65 or 67 quid more or something like that. So yeah, they're all pointers for me to this week to sharpen up and to get my execution sorted out. But it was one of them things that was where I couldn't miss that phone call. It was quite important to us, so I had to make it. But today, let's go into today, right? I am slightly bearish this market. How we've come off today, it doesn't fill me with great sort of positivity that this level here has worked as a bounce area. Now, can we bounce up here and go up here? I think we can, but how we've rolled over in here, I'd be worried if I was a bull now, personally. I'd be thinking that we're way more likely to get continuation. Like, you can clearly see from a structural perspective, as long as this high holds here now, you know, like you've got to be leaning bearish for me, because like if this level here was going to hold and this was going to be the SFP entry here, I would have much preferred us to just steam up from a bullish perspective. Like, what the hell are we doing back down here now? Can we just go up again this afternoon and steam up there? Yeah, of course we can, but from a structural perspective, I think the market is looking like, you know, this is going to get challenged this low here and we're going to go and have a look down. Does that mean anything to my strategy at all? No, I'm just trying to obviously point out from a structural perspective how I think it looks overall. But yeah, I will trade either way today. The good thing is though, guys, the volatility should still be in the market, shouldn't it? That is one of the big things that I'm happy about, because if we would have just had the old normal steam up and parabolic up, right? A lot of the time, that's like this week then, the volatility would have dampened down, because you get the same old story again. You know, you just get this sort of ramp up where a lot of it happens overnight, with like gap ups overnight, and then what tends to happen is when that sort of happens in the market, the moves in the daytime when the market's actually open, they're sort of hit and miss. The volatility is not there to them, and a lot of the time, like I said, you gap up overnight, and then for large parts of the day it doesn't really do anything, and that doesn't really suit my strategy. So I am glad that we have rolled over, because that means that, you know, we haven't just sort of had the old ECB push up into nothing, and hopefully we will be able to get some good setups this week. It will be a volatile week. As long as we stay around this area and we challenge these lows, I imagine it's going to be volatile again this week. So there's going to be a lot of setups that we're going to potentially be able to jump on for the rest of the week. And yeah, so let's just see what happens. But from a structural perspective now, you really have got to think, like, the initial balance has been put in, so for me, I'm not bullish until we get through the top of it. We've had the break through the bottom and close back through the top, so it's sit and wait time for me. I aren't sure. Could you have traded this candle here where we've gone through the bottom of balance and closed back into it? That would be a solid long on a different strategy on a different day for somebody. That's the mechanical one that I keep telling people to have a look at. So yeah, I'm going to get into the comments. So let's see what's going on. Yeah, Steve, well, at least you didn't accidentally get caught jacking it on live stream. You know what, Steve? That was so bad yesterday. I'm not just going to say, like, I don't ever really do that. Yeah, let's not get into that, but I don't do that here, like, because it's so bad. Like, something could have happened like that, you know. The worst thing is, like, I had no top on at one point because I got so flustered with making this video and the radiator was on that I was sweating, so I was all a bit flustered, took my top off. So you guys would have been sitting here watching me with no top on, and I wouldn't have even known. Like, I could have just been doing anything. So it's just so bad, so bad. Yeah, so I don't think it was that bad, but it was just such a stupid thing to have done. It's like that. Is it the MP that was on Zoom and he didn't turn his Zoom off, and then he got up and then he had all his pants on and stuff like that? So it's just stupid. Yeah, you got 1/5 of a scale. You got 1/5 of a scale out on that move up, did you, Ian? Yeah, you did okay, dude. You got the right entry anyway. That was the correct entry of the day. It really was. What's that GBP doing? I don't know about you guys, right, but I'm thinking that the pound absolutely... I know I am quite biased with the pound, so you shouldn't really take this as any trading sort of strategy, but I just think the pound looks too bullish. I don't know why. I just think that get your old guru sort of stuff out with your trend lines and stuff, and I just think that it looks like it's coiling for me. I might be completely wrong, and I won't be making any sort of swing trades off it or anything like that, but I don't know why, but I just think that looks like it's coiling and it's going to go, we're going to break out. I think if we reclaim this level here, that would be something that would interest me from that point. So this level, see these two lows? I think if we reclaim that and we get back above here, and then maybe like retest and then break out like that, I think we could definitely get going. Now, I wouldn't be long down here, obviously, but if we can reclaim that level, which is 136.65, and get back above, and then retest it from the other side, I think we could definitely be off to the races. I don't know why, but it looks to me like it's going down, but it looks like it's sort of an accumulation sort of bullish channel that could get broken to the upside. Let's have a look what happens here at this initial balance high. This is going to be important, this test is to this market for the rest of the day's trade. I'll get it on a smaller time frame and have a look. See this high here at 734? Yeah, that's the high of the IB. If the bears, you say, if the market's going to be bearish, normally the IB holds it and we trap there. And then we're going to come back in and roll back in and come and challenge these lows again. We'll have to see what happens at this test. This here though, this leg into it here, there's no consolidation, it's a fresh leg into it. I would suggest that this could potentially just be a little bit of a trap here because we look like we've extended into it. We could just steam straight through obviously, but just watch this on the smaller time frames. Let's have a good look at it. Have a right zoom in. So I would look at this now on the small time frame as this is how I would used to trade. If we push through it and we close back in, it would just be a short with a stop just above the high. You can get some fantastic risk reward trades off on the top of these IBs like this. You really can. Or you're risking like 6-7 ticks, and if you can hold for the other side of the IB, like you're looking at 10-11R or something like that. So don't like that though. Don't like the fact that we've just pulled back there before that level. I would have much preferred us to go steaming straight into it and then close back into it. Like I've said to you, these little consolidations before, they just tend to put me off. The market's trying to tempt people in there to just get short before they should be doing, and then it's going to try and push them out. Let's just watch what happens. I find these points of price action fascinating for me. I really do. Very interesting. I don't like it though how it's just lingering. See how it's just lingering there beneath that level? Now that can mean nothing or it can mean absolutely everything. But is it trying to tempt shorts in there before they should be? Or the ego, like the eager traders that aren't sticking to a strategy, who are just tempted just to get in just before the levels hit, just in case they miss out and it goes down without them. And then I find that it just steams them. I'd be thinking like this is going to push through now. They're going to steam through that level, this little consolidation beneath it. Let's just see. The algos, they try to work like that. They try and work people. I wouldn't want to be short here now on this one, I don't think. Me personally. You see the high there? That's the high, guys. I've got it on a very short time frame just so I can see what's happening. You know, in the micro sort of detail. But it lines up with that high there at 702.20, 734.40. Still not got the push through yet. You see how important the IB is to the DAX, the German market? It really is important to it. And this is why I use it. The market does respect it massively. It does work on the Bund as well. The Bund does respect it, by the way. It's not the only market. Right, so we've had the push through. It's getting a steam. There's your close back beneath. Right, so would you want to be short that there? I don't think I would. The little consolidation underneath it might mean something to me. It might mean nothing though. So let's say you were short there, your stop would be at 53 and you'd be probably waiting for this type of candle here, you'd be in at 44. I wouldn't be short there though myself because of this little consolidation. I would have preferred just a nice run up to the level and then this to happen. I don't like this little thing here. Now, that might mean nothing at all, but it might mean something to me. See, it's pushing you out there now. So what's it doing on the 1 minute? Doji at the 1 minute. Look at that. What a beauty. Although it wouldn't have been a short for me because I wouldn't have liked that little consolidation just before there. Because for me that means like, you know, like I just wouldn't fancy that. I'd much prefer it to be a leg up like this. If you see this price action here, I like now this could be a fantastic winning trade, but for me I just wouldn't have been in there because I wanted it to be like this as the move up into the level like this and then a trap. I wouldn't have liked this little consolidation and this rotation just before it and then it's gone up and had a poke through. But you know, could somebody else have maybe made money from it? I don't know. Maybe they could have. But for me, that wouldn't have been a trade that I would have taken myself personally. I would have stayed out of it. Now, this could be an absolute winner, and it could have come all the way down here. But I'm just pointing out that for me, I can't claim any credit for that one because I wouldn't have been in that. That little consolidation there would have just put me off. But that's the power of the IB, guys. Okay. People will say like, oh, the IB doesn't mean anything, but look at this. There's your low of your IB. The market's gone through it and closed back in it. We've had a big run the other side, and there's your high of your IB, and the market's poked through it and we've had another rotation off. So it's not me that's saying to you that this thing means something. Like it actually does mean something to how the DAX trades for the buyers for the rest of the day. And until we break IB, as I've told you time and time again, no trend will ever develop until we break IB. And if you're trying to trade a trend in a strategy that jumps on a trend, you are way better off waiting for the days when you're above the IB to add to the context of your trade rather than trying to trade before we break it. Because for me, until we break out of IB, there is no trend to the market, none. Like that is the market telling me that we're in balance. We're gonna chop. We're gonna do nothing. You know, there's no trend there, is there? And this is why I use it. This is the power of it. It's not guru stuff either. Like the market does respect it. It really does. There's no like moving type of part of it. It's all black and white. Like you know the 7 a.m. high, you know the 8 a.m. low or high, and that's it. And it never changes, and it's the same every day. Right, okay, Felina, so you were long the DAX, were you there? Trader's Ed, morning, dude. I haven't seen you in here for a bit. You okay? You good? So, mechanical strategy wise, if you were making this mechanical here, you could even do something as simple as saying, like, if we use a moving average, a short-term moving average, let's go for a 3 and a 10. Okay, let's go here. Look at this for a strategy, right? If you don't want to play for the expansion, of, you know, like an expansion day, or you don't like, you know, you can't see yourself holding on these big trends and closing at 9 o'clock, try this out for a strategy. Backtest it. There's something else that you can look at. So there's your 7 a.m. high. We're going to use the IB. And what we're going to say is, once we've been out of one side of IB, you know, like let's say this point here, right, you could argue that we've been out of it there at 8:05, right? But what I like to see is at least a candle that closes through the IB, which let's say it pushes the moving averages out of the IB. So rather than taking the ones where you just get a little close through like that and it's very unconvincing of whether we've even actually been through it, try this one. So let's say that we take the ones where the moving averages themselves, like one of the moving averages itself, one of them has had to have gone outside of the IB. Because as you can see here, this one was, you know, like we've been out of it slightly. I think there was like a 2 ticks beneath the IB low, which was here. But let's say you're waiting for a move that actually pulls a moving average out of the IB. And that's the first context of the actual entry. The next thing you're after is the candles or the price action that closes back inside the IB and actually crosses to give you the entry. Now, these moving averages here, just random ones that are thrown on, 3 and 10, they crossed here, right? So you will have had an entry about here. So your stop will go beneath this low, okay? So it's a mechanical entry system. And what you're going to do with that is you might scale out at 3R and then you might scale out at the top of your IB, but you're going to hold some for the rest of the day until 9 p.m. Now go and backtest that. Highly probable, and on the days where we probe through the bottom of the IB and close back inside it, it's highly probable, not highly probable, but I would say off the top of my head that this here can often be the low of the day at this point. Now you won't know that this is the low of the day until 9 p.m. obviously, but when you've been through the bottom of IB and you close back into the top of IB like we have there, more often than not, these can be the low, or if it's the other way around, they can be the high of the day. Hold some until 9 p.m, take some off at 3R and take some off at the top of IB and hold the rest. Build a strategy around that. This sequence, a move through the IB, a close back into the IB in the morning, has to sort of be, you know, like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at time, that sort of, you know, that point in time, I would say that's the most important time to sort of get the low of the day or the high of the day. And then obviously hold all day for the rest of it. Put your stop at break even once you go into like 3 or 4 hour profit, or once we've been to the other side of IB, move your stop at break even, and then do nothing. Backtest that one, have a look at it. See if it makes any money over the long term. I would be very surprised if it doesn't. And I would be very surprised if it doesn't make more money than just being a discretionary trader and just punting what you think's going to happen or whatever. Highly likely that if you've been through the bottom of IB and it's been rejected, that a lot of the time that's the low of the day. Or if you've been through the high of IB and it's been rejected, highly likely that that's the high of the day. And it's normally the first one that means something. So I would suggest now that this here, it's more probable than not that could end up being the low of the day. Now it might not be today, and we might come all the way back in, and you might get stopped at our break even. But over a period of 100 or 200 or 500 trades, I would suggest that this here will pay you off by holding until 9 p.m. Because on the days when it does go, on the days when this does go and this is the low of the day, you won't be taking profit here and thinking that you've done well. You'll be closing at 9 p.m. and the market will be somewhere up here at 15,400 or 15,500. And that one winning day where you've held that much and you've used a stop that's like 59 to, you used a 30 pip stop on that one day where the market goes to 500, you know, you will have absolutely smashed the market and made that much R that you will have paid for loads and loads and loads of little losers. So just another little pointer of maybe another mechanical strategy or another way of looking at the market that people can use. I'll get these moving averages off now. There's so many little niches like that with the IB guys. There really is, and that's what you want to try and find. You want to try and find a little niche, something that suits your personality. That's the key. If it suits your personality, first of all, it might not do. So that's why we say to everybody, do the back testing, because you might find that the losing sequences, there's too many of them. It might not suit your personality to have 8 losers in a row. You might need something that's a little bit different, that's going to give you like a bit of a higher winning sort of higher win rate, let's say, or more winners in the sequence. But you with that you'll probably find you make less R on your winners. So have a look at it, see what suits you. Did anybody watch that video I put out yesterday with Mark Fisher on? I love that video, by the way. There's 6 of them, and they are absolutely amazing. That Mark Fisher guy, I've watched all of his stuff on YouTube. He was somebody that I went to a while ago when I was struggling myself, and I just wanted to see somebody that was real. You know, like I know I didn't see him in person, but I wanted to listen to somebody that was real. What I mean by real is somebody that's walked the walk that you want to walk. Somebody that's not charging for stuff, or not trying to say like, oh, this is $5,000 or $10,000 or something, but is actually trading real, like real money, real size. And it's just amazing, like what an amazing guy he is. He was one of the biggest oil traders on the NYSE. He's now got his own brokerage called, I think it's called the MBF Corporation. He's massive, huge. I think his corporation has more nat gas and more oil than like ExxonMobil. Like they do more contracts than them day in, day out. So they're absolutely massive. And he's just a normal guy that was like grew up in Long Island, got into trading, and that's how big he's got. But what an absolute legend. Like he's way Nav's here. This guy's like on top of the Empire State Building. I think he's close to like being a billionaire. He's huge. And he just trades something so simple. It's just opening range. He will trade long above it and he will trade short below it. And there's some pivot points that he uses that I don't use myself, that he works out the pivot point for the day, and he tries to combine a pivot point with an opening range. And if the pivot point's below the market and we get a reversal off the pivot point and a close back into the opening range, he'll be long. And it's just amazing how something so simple can work. It can take you from just having like a normal life to just having like, being an absolute living legend in the trading sort of world. And you can make it as complicated as you want. You can have loads of analysts, loads of algorithms, but basically, that's where I get it from. That's a lot of the opening range stuff that he teaches. I sort of used myself in my DAX theory, and it's all free. There's no cost to it. There's 6 of them. And I thought when I'd watched all 6 of them, it was the best thing I'd ever seen on trading. And he makes it so simple. I know, obviously, the hard thing in trading is making something simple and sticking to it, isn't it? Because you can have the most simple trading strategy in the world, but if you lack the discipline to stick to it, which is what I've struggled with over the last 2 weeks for whatever reason, probably due to a bit of fear, it still means that you can make a pig's ear of it. So just because something's simple doesn't mean it's easy. But I think if you're struggling with your trading and it's you're very complicated and you're waiting for loads of different things and it's all discretionary and you can't work out whether you need to be long or short, just stick it on your chart and basically just have the discipline to stick to it for a month or 2 and see if you end up making any money. But it's so interesting. I love that guy. If I ever go to New York, I'm going to go and knock on his door and try and find him and just say like, you are a ledge, let me buy you a drink. Let me buy you a drink, dude. He's unbelievable. He looks like a little English bulldog, doesn't he? Like he's dead small, he's stout, he's quite chunky or whatever, but what an absolute legend. I love him. Not in a queer way, but I do actually think he's a proper ledge. I don't think he's on Twitter, by the way, guys. I've had a look for him on Twitter. I've tried following him. I think his corporation is, but I don't think he is actually on there. Or I don't think he's actively on there anyway, because I keep searching for him all the time. We've never been able to find him. I think, there's a guy who's on Twitter who is a trader, or who was a trader in the S&P 500 called Jude James. I follow him. Now he is, I think he trades like the VIX curve. He does things slightly different than what we're doing with just directional stuff. I think he's like an options trader, and he does a lot of VIX stuff and that. Now he apparently traded with him, and I listened to a podcast that he did, the Market Huddle with Jude James, or James Jude. Now he was saying that Mark Fisher and stuff like that. What a ledge he is. It was quite good. That was a good listen. A up, C down. Yeah, exactly, man. There's some negativity in the comments of his videos. I don't know why though, Filinos. I really don't. I mean, the guy's a legend, right? Absolute legend. I imagine he's traded more in a day, more money's worth of risk in a day than I've traded in my whole life. Probably more than all of us on this stream have traded in the whole life, maybe. Apparently he's massive, like huge, like moves the oil market huge. So, it's just good to see. Like, I love that type of thing. Like, he's just jumped on there and done that seminar, and it was real. It wasn't like no bullshit. It was just like he was just speaking properly, not recorded, not edited. That's what I love. Like, that's when you can really work out if somebody, like somebody's real, I think. Because all of these edited ones on YouTube, they've cut out all the crap that they've said, haven't they? And this is why I'm telling you, it's difficult when you're trying to record a video, like, all the crap that you say, you don't really see that. And when it's live and somebody like that guy there's talking live in that seminar, you can tell that he knows what he's talking about. He really can. He's a proper legend. He's huge in the oil market, and like how he was, like, he's so sharp, isn't he? Like how he was bantering with the crowd that were in there, and he was sort of like calling them out on what they were saying. I love that. Like, he's got to be so sure of himself to do that. And they were sort of questioning what he was saying, or he was like trying to get an answer out of them, and he was like straight away hitting them with like what he thought. And it's like, yeah, man, he is really good. You could tell that he's very, very sure of himself, very confident, and he knows his stuff massively. So it was really good. Yeah, change. That's the guy, Jimmy Jude 13. That's his Twitter account. No time for Twitter if he's making millions. No. And that takes me back to another guy that I speak to, who's on, I think his username on YouTube is Mikos, him that was in calling Tom a toilet cleaner. Like, that guy's not on Twitter, and he's a big trader. He ain't on Twitter, but, maybe that means something, I don't know. I'm not saying you can't be on Twitter and you're making money, though, as a trader. That's not the case, is it? Obviously, there is people out there that dislike being on Twitter for Twitter's sake, but yeah, it's surprising, isn't it, that the most of the big guys who are on Twitter aren't actually tweeting like any trading stuff out. That's what I mean by it. They aren't actively tweeting trading sort of, and the big accounts on Twitter are like tweeting trading like quotes out and emotional stuff like that. Steve Burns is one, and he like, oh my god, has he got? I think he might have the biggest following on Twitter, but all he does is like tweet like quotes out and stuff. Like, I don't think any of these guys are like doing like mind positivity quotes. That, like if you do something wrong, they'll probably fucking throw the coffee mug at the back of your head or something. Like, they ain't on Twitter like trying to do like mentally like healthy mindset quotes and all that shit. That doesn't help anybody, does it? If you've done your arse. Yeah, he's good, Steve. He's very good. You should watch them all. 6 of them. They're really good. Like you say, the tempo of the conversation that he moved on, he's very good. A 3-second answer. If you can't give him an answer in 3 seconds, you're done. Like, you're thrown out. He's not interested. Like, that to me is like, I look at that and I'm like in awe of it. It's awesome. He's like snappy. He's obviously at it, isn't he? Like, I take it back to football. When like if a player's at it, like straight away, don't you? Like, they're at it, they're on it. He was like that yesterday. He was like the star player on a football team. He's just at it. Sit there watching that in awe of him. Same as say, I'd pay to go and sit next to that guy. I'd pay 5 or 10 grand, go sit next to him for a day. He's, I wouldn't mind him educating me and paying for education off him. And he can trade anything, any commodity, any market. His strategy, his how he works out the market will work on anything. And as he says, it's just about having discipline to put it out there and trade it every day. I think he moved in that gas market. He really does, Adlin, I think. He's huge. And I think all the guys in his room as well. I like the side of it that all the guys in his room aren't like your sort of Harvard star guys. They're sort of like hustlers from like Long Island and New York. I love that side of it. Now, I don't know if that's completely true with everybody in there. But the guys that he was sort of calling out, I think one was called Rock, someone was called something else. You could tell that they were just sort of like your average hustler guys from New York who'd probably been into all sorts in the past, and now like they're trading massive size in the oil market, and it's just, I love that side of it. It makes you feel positive. Like he said, you don't have to be the cleverest person in the room to make money. You've just got to be a certain personality type, and it was good. Does he like Scandinavians? Peter Brand. I don't know about Peter. He seems a nice guy, Peter. Don't know. I don't know about that guy. A lot of people say he's a scammer. I don't know. I don't know if he is or not. I think he comes across as if he is. I like Mark Minervani. Mark Minervani's good. He's there on Twitter. I mean, he's one of them guys that has got records. I think the guy's in a trading competition at the moment where he's trading £1 million account to start with, so he's not trading like a £3,000 account like myself, proper balling with 3k in it. He's trading £1 million, right, of his own money. So to me, straight away, that would strike him as being a cut above the rest. So he's trading it live. It's documented. It's £1 million account, so it's proper size. You don't just throw £1 million in an account if you've never traded that type of size before and think, oh, I'm going to have a go at it. You just don't do that. So for me, Mark Minervani is another one of these guys that can walk the walk. He's prepared to do it live. He's trading in one of these competitions where it's all verified. I think you can go on and look at his accounts and see the growth or the losses he's had. I think he's a ledge. It comes across as a bit of a scammer. I think people say he sort of tries to funnel you into his sort of, I don't know if he has a room or something where it's $100. I've never been in it. It's not an ad or anything like that. I don't follow him actively, but I just like the side of him where he's trading £1 million account live and it's verified. That's good to me. So he's another one that I wouldn't mind. If you wanted to learn. Now I don't know what his strategy is. I think he trades the big cap stocks, and he has a way of doing it. But for me, that's amazing. Like, there's not many people who will throw $1 million of their own money into an account and trade it live, is there? So well done to him. That's what I think that shit. Like if you're charging them types of figures, like that's what you want to see from these people. Peter was in the most recent Market Wizards book. Peter Brandt was. Oh my god. Jesus Christ! What did they do? Run out of people to put in there or something? Best bond traders were brought up as fruit and veg market traders. Well, I was a market trader, Nick. I was a market trader for 12 years, dude. I started on my mum and dad's market stall at 8. I started selling lighters. That's what I've done all my life. Mum and dad were market traders. I was on Stockport Market every Saturday morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, freezing my knackers off at 8 years old, selling knickers and socks and underwear and shit like that. And then I had my own box of lighters and used to sell lighters. If you can believe it, we used to sell 15 lighters for £1, but I was buying them at around 30 for £1. So I was making like decent money, and if I brought a box of a carton of them, used to be £60, and it used to work out that if I sold the carton of them in a day, I'd double my money. I'd always throw a few in, 3 for people or customers that had come back every week. Or I had some school kids that used to come round, because I was only like 8 and I used to sell them there, and then they used to take them to school and sell them for money, so I always used to give them some money, but it used to work out, I used to double my money. But I was a market trader, loved it, best times of my life, the most fun ever, it was amazing, proper good times. The characters on them markets, I'm telling you now, I've never seen it since in anywhere, in any sort of walk of life. They were proper sort of hustlers, dead good. But all of them would be up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Even if it was raining, snowing, -5, they'd be there, setting the stall out. Like, they were proper hard men, all of them were, and they could hustle, but they'd always be there. And that used to amaze me, because I used to be 8 and I used to think, I don't want to go. It was dry. I used to hate it, getting the knock on my door in the morning off my stepdad saying, come on, we've got to get in the van, we've got to go. It's like -5, and you think, these guys are mad. But they've all gone now. All the markets have. They've all been moved off. Obviously, when all the big sort of discount stores come on, and what happened was a lot of the towns have gone on to these sort of out of town sort of little retail parks. And, you know, like they knew what they were doing. They knew they were going to kill them guys off. Partly, why would they do that? Because obviously half of them were all in cash. You know, like most of them would always be in trouble with the bloody tax man and stuff like that. So the government wanted them gone because obviously they knew that they weren't getting their pound of flesh out of the money that they were earning. So they would much prefer it to be the big stores and stuff who are all on PAYE stuff and that, because they're getting the pound of flesh out of it. But it was the best times of my life, and that's what I say to you. I've always traded something, but I was a market trader from the age of 8 to the age of 20, 22, 23, something like that. So it was good. It was really good. I did well, you know. I did really well. I moved it into being an indoor market. So I had 2 or 3 of them going at the same time, and some days on a Saturday, like I'd take 2 or 3 grand in a day. You'd never think it, but that's the type of money that I'd be taking in a day. And then it just literally wound down very quickly. eBay come out, Amazon come out, didn't come out but got big to the point where people were just buying it off eBay and getting it delivered, and Amazon was. So then I moved into selling cars because one of my best mates had a garage, and I sort of got into that, and then moved into buying and selling cars and got my own forecourts. But I was a market trader. It was awesome. The most fun I've ever had, the best fun and the most fun I've ever had. It was very, very good for building your character. So Minovani's at 5k, is he? 5k course. His books are cheaper. 5k is dear though, isn't it? Maybe that's what he values his time at though, so I can't really say that it wouldn't be, you know, like he should be doing it at $500, because why should he? If that's what he values his time at, and he can prove that he can trade, which he obviously can, then at the end of the day, can I sort of say anything negative about that? You probably couldn't, could you? So if that's what he values his time at. What did he do after the markets? Cars, dude, Dave. Car trader. Dodgy car salesman. But as I've said to you about that, it was great, right? I did really well money-wise. I earned more money from the cars, and when my markets were good, I earned more money off the markets than I do off my trading. That's partly because of my account size of trading. I would earn more money if I had a bigger account, obviously, because I've been making more money. But I haven't got a massive account. It's not huge. So my earnings aren't probably what you'd think they would be. I'm not going to give you my account details, but things have happened in my life since. So like we've had to do other things with his money. And when I sold my garages, I put it into some houses. Not loads of houses, but a couple, and so my money was tied up in them. So my trading account balance took a hit. Now over the last couple of years, I've built it up slightly, but I've had to live, you know. So, you know, like I pay my bills and stuff out of my trading account. I have other income off, a little bit of income off something to do with property, but that's basically it. So I was earning way more money doing my cars, way more money, but I had way more stress, like even more stress than this. And it was the stress of people that no matter what you're doing with cars, unless you're selling brand new cars that all come with a warranty from the supplier and stuff, and the supplying sort of manufacturer, people are never happy. They're never happy, never. So I was selling stuff that was like 3 or 4 years old, and at some points like I had like 25, 35 cars for sale on each pitch, and it was good. But by the time you factored in all of your VAT and all of your tax and all of your expenses, the pitches are expensive. Even the advertising, right? To advertise cars is very expensive. It's a lot of money every month. You're talking like 1,500 quid to £2,000 a month for an auto trader site. And you're getting people just constantly ring up and scream at you saying, I've broke down, my clutch is gone, my gearbox is gone, the head gasket's gone, and it's just a nightmare. The warranty companies that you use never want to sort it out. So basically what happens is the customer gets stuck in between you and the warranty company. And if the warranty company don't sort it out, they're back at you. Like I used to get phone calls in it. Sold a Range Rover Sport once. Guy drove it down the M6, and his wheel had come off it. And it's like, I don't even know how that would be possible, but his wheel come off, all of his brake calipers come off on the road on the M6. He's telling me that he's got no breakdown cover. The warranty company said that they weren't going to do it because there was some technical reason where they said that they weren't happy with something, so they didn't pick him up. Now I think it cost me, I can't remember how much it cost me, but it cost me a lot of money to sort this problem out. And it's one of them, it's like that, the cars is very similar to trading. Like, the amount of money that you make on your winners is good, but then you get a lot of losers as well. Like, it's like trading, really. It's very similar type of setup. But with trading, I don't have to work on a Saturday or Sunday. I've got no staff problems. I've got no issues with any sort of customers that are ringing me up screaming. If I lose money on the DAX, the only person who's unhappy is me. Whereas if I lose money on a car, you can bet your bottom dollar that the people who brought that car off me are screaming at me. And it gets you down. You know, like, you wake up on a Monday morning, you might have sold like 4 cars over the weekend, and by Tuesday morning there's 2 of them that are ringing you up screaming at you saying, oh, the key's not working, the key fob stopped working, the alarm's been going off in the middle of the night, the neighbours are screaming at me, because this is what happens with used cars. They have problems that even if you spent 24 hours on them when you buy them in, going through every problem, they just don't show themselves up. It might take the car to be driven 100 miles until you notice there's a problem with it. Because a lot of the time issues are sporadic. They don't just happen all the time. They might just happen sporadically. And that's why that person's got rid of it. So they'll be thinking, oh God, my alarm keeps going off in the middle of the night. But it might only happen when the rain happens or when a car drives past it too close. So until you give the car to the customer and they take it out into the real world, you don't see the problems, and then they ring you up screaming at you, and this happens over and over and over again. So it's just, although trading is a lot more stressful, it's not as stressful, and I get more free time by doing this than obviously having my cars. So yeah. How many cars would I bang out a week? You know what? Sometimes 10, Dave, in a week. That was a busy week, 10. But yeah, on an average week, I'd say around 4 or 5. But you have like really good weeks, to be fair. The only months that are quiet in car trading is December. Once you hit December, you don't sell any. Very quiet month because people are all focused on Christmas. So December was always very quiet. But once January comes along again, people want new year, new car. Everybody wants to sort of, have something new to look forward to. New Year's resolution might be to get a new car or something. So you get busy again. No, I didn't do any work on it myself, Dave. I had people that would do it for me. I didn't have time, buddy. I went and brought them, though. I went and brought them myself from BCA. That's what I enjoyed more than anything, the buying side of it. And trade gold. Yeah, I like gold. Don't make any money by trading it, though. That's a problem. Mark Minavani's up 262% in that competition. Yeah, you see, he's a proper ledge, that Mark Minavani. That's why his trading course is 5k. But I don't mind paying 5k for a trading course if the guy can trade properly and it's verified. It's like AstroFX that do Myodin would have not verified anything ever, and their accounts on MT4. Like that, that doesn't mean nothing, does it? You can falsify all of the ins and outputs of MT4, dead easy, as we all know. See, now, for me, because we've been up there and tested that high and we've come off, I would now need an extension and a pullback to the get short. I like this though, guys. This is good. This consolidation here is good today. It means that the market, I'm just so glad we haven't floated up overnight and the move's been done overnight. It means that we're potentially going to get a setup today, this does. The worst thing ever could have been if you see like how we've moved up. If we'd have moved up overnight and we'd been here, highly likely we would just be like ranging all day. And then we would have probably had another gap up overnight. But this, that we've come off overnight and we're sort of in this tight consolidation, hopefully this week, maybe even later on today, we're going to get some type of a move, which is interesting, which means that the volatility is going to pick up again, which is good. My first trading style when I got profitable, Adlin. So I don't know if you've been watching or anything, but my trading style My first trading style when I actually started making money was the opening range breakout, but on a shorter time frame. So it was similar to this, but it was on a 1 minute time frame. But I found, as I've been told everybody in here before, that there was just too much going on and too much stress through the day. And I'd get the days where I'd made money and I just I didn't even know how I had. I couldn't sort of work out how I had. There'd be too many trades, too many ups and downs. So with the trading strategy that I use now is the one that you will have seen in the videos. And that's the one where I feel more in control and I'm making money. And that's what I've been doing for a while now. Only had to move one of my IBs today, one stayed the same. What's that? What do you mean by that, Ian? What do you mean, dude? Point it out to me. Don't think any of the big players use MT4, to be fair. No, I don't. I don't get why people use it, really. I mean, obviously, it's well sort of... It's a very highly used platform, isn't it? Because all of the sort of brokers that, sort of scammy brokers use. I just don't know why anybody would use it. I don't understand. Maybe it's indicators. Maybe they use it because there's more indicators on there and stuff like that. But I've never really liked MT4. I can't use it. It's one of them things that I wouldn't even be able to use. I've been on it a few times in the past and I've ended up making mistakes because I'm not very good on the platform. I really aren't. Just the one asset, Adeline, the DAX for me, pal. Right, Lauren. So I use IG because. Right, so I've never actually looked at AMP or TradeOvate, but I use IG because the withdrawals are good, Lawrence. That's it. IG's withdrawals are fantastic. It's not an ad. If IG want to give me some money for saying this, though, great. But obviously they aren't doing. But I've always used IG because of their withdrawals are very, very good, and they're fully regulated by the UK financial. I forgot what it's called, but they're fully regulated by the UK sort of people that will tell you off if you're not or make any bad mistakes. I don't know the actual fully. It's like the SEC, isn't it, in America? But it's the UK something. FCA, is it? Yes, I think it is. It's the UK FCA. They're fully verified and accredited by the UK. So, for instance, if you've got money on the hip with IG and they go down, your money's safe. Now, I will say this. I only ever put into my account, and this is one of the biggest tips that I can give anybody. You want to be trading on margin. And what I mean by that is not balls deep, but only have the money in your account. So in my other live account, I've only got the money in there that I need to enter my maximum size position on any given day. I will drip feed that account money as I need to. If I have a losing day, the next day I will need to put that money into my account. But what that does is it keeps me from having all of my account equity with my broker. So I'm very careful about that. I don't think there's any need to ever have the full, like your whole account with your broker. I don't get why you would do, because it's far safer in your bank, isn't it? Your money. For me, I always want it in my bank. Now, if I have a losing day, it means that I have to replenish that money, and that's it, basically. It's one of them things where you have to sort of be in control of your account, of your balance. So I would always say to anybody, don't have your whole account sat with IG, even though they're accredited with the FCA. You need it in your bank. And then drip feed the money as you need to. Mark Wogan, you do the same. Yeah, I don't know why anybody would ever do any different. I watched a video on IG the other day where AstroFX had 5 million. They were showing off on a plane. They had 5 million quid with some broker. Now, when you looked at it, the broker was like some stupid broker in Cyprus or something that wasn't. It just looks so fake, it was unbelievable. Because if you've got 5 million quid and you haven't put it into an accredited brokerage, let alone not have it in your own bank and just be trading on margin, you're a mug, you're an idiot. You are an idiot. Like, why would you do that? So it was 100% fake. It was obviously fake, and it was another one of these MT4 accounts where they'd made out they'd got X amount in it. It was just made up money. But you're telling me that you're a trader. You're telling me that I should learn off you when you've got 5 million quid sat in some dodgy brokerage account that's not accredited. Like, that just screams at me that you're an idiot. So I would definitely not want to be taking your course. But people can't see this. They just stare at the 5 million quid and think, oh, wow, he's got 5 million quid. They don't think about logically if it makes any sense to him to have that 5 million quid in that account with that broker. You know, and that be a sensible sort of decision that you'd have to make yourself. It's just crazy. So yeah, that's what I do. And I will always say that. So don't keep your money with your broker, guys. Just don't. Keep it in your bank and then drip feed it as you need it. But I use IG because the withdrawals are good. And also, by the way, they've got very good other stuff. So they're good with shares. They've got all ISAs and stuff like that. I've got an ISA with them. I think it's a smart portfolio ISA. It's called a SIP ISA. I've got that with them. It's good. They're good. You can have it set on different. You can have it set on different sort of growth strategies, and you can even trade with it as well. Like, you can take it out. Like, if you see a dip in the market, or you think, you know, like, oh, we're way too high, you can actually pull your money out pretty quickly on the spot and then add it back in. I'm not recommending that you should do that because you'll probably more than likely make mistakes, but it's possible that you can do that. They're very flexible. Yeah, it's easy. It's easy. They are good like that. They're good like that. I think you have to jump through some hoops when you first start off, Lawrence. There's a few hoops that you have to jump through to verify yourself, but it's easy. I don't like these brokers where you try to get your money out and you can't get your money out. For me, it's just like, it's my money. It takes a day, doesn't it, to get your money in or out of something. These ones that take like 3 or 4 days, it's just all a bit, I don't like it. It's like Coinbase when, you know, like they close with, you know, like they do things where they just try and stop you from accessing your capital and stuff like that. That's a big warning sign to me. I don't like that. Luke is a great guy at IG. I don't know who Luke is, Aaron. Who is Luke? I don't know anybody at IG. Ian does. They've asked Ian out on a corporate day, so he must be a really good customer for them. I don't know whether that's a positive or a negative if you're getting asked to IG's corporate dates. It might mean they've had to pound the flesh out, yeah, or it might just mean that you're a legend. They like your company. I don't know. Ian'll have to tell us. Dak staying in the range, snooze fest. Yeah, it is total snooze fest, dude. Now that trade this morning, that 1 minute, that's worked out, hasn't it? You see the power of the IB. The power of the IB. It's right there, guys. It's right there for everybody to see. Look at that for a trap. Now, as I said, I wouldn't have taken it, but you know, if you weren't as much of a little baby as me, or a big girl's blouse as me, you might have, and you might have made a lot of money there. So I can't help it. People are saying, why do you not trade discretionary and just trade this and trade that? And it's like, well, the problem with that is I would trade this and then trade that, and then I would also be trying to trade this, and then I would also be trying to trade that and this, and then I'd be like, I would have lost money at the end of the day, even though I would have been right. He's one of their premium guys. Takes you out for nice drinks. Both. Have you been out for drinks with him then, Aaron? You must be a big sort of play with IG then. Did you lose your? Aaron's the guy that I think he is anyway. That come on and said he'd lost 75k. Did you lose that with IG, Aaron? Right, okay, so Ian's saying that IB is the same as Friday. It's not moved. Typical balanced market then now. Aaron. Yeah, you can imagine they've taken you out for drinks, pal. Yeah, you lost 7. Yeah, Jesus Christ. No wonder they took you out for a few drinks there. I've never ever had them sort of losses, but the problem, I've never had that size of account or anything, so I couldn't really say. I don't know. I think actually no. You said your account was. I remember what you said now, but you lost 75k of it. That's a big loss. That is. I'd expect a few drinks after that one, Aaron. It's so good that you're still here though, still smashing it. I don't think I could have come back from that one myself, but you've done well to get back in the thick of it, dude. Yeah, Thomas though. Thomas Provsky, right? I don't know if IG's cars are leased anymore, dude. I think they own them all. Like, I think they do. I don't think he's leasing them. I think he probably owns them all. And even if they are leased, right? The guy has got a Lamborghini Aventador, a Lamborghini, the 4x4, the Urus, a Rolls Royce, a BMW M4, I think. What else has he got? It's like unbelievable. Like, the guy's got. So even if he is leasing them, he's still. How much are his leases? Right, it's got to be 10 grand a month. Got to be. I think the Lamborghini Aventador, if you lease them, I think they're 3 or 4k a month. I'd say his Urus is about 2.5k a month. His Wraith's about 3k a month, maybe, depending on what contracts he's got him on. Because I know the car game. He might have purchased them outright. I don't know if he has, but his cars alone are 10k a month. They've got to be. So even if he's leasing them, he's still spending 10k a month on cars. So I don't know. If he's leasing them or if he's buying them, he's still making a shitload of money because he wouldn't have them. And it's not like he's leasing them for a day and he's sending them to somewhere else. Like, there is cars, they're there all the time. So he's got to be making serious money. Serious money. Now, he's not making it from trading. He's making it from courses, definitely, without a doubt. He isn't a trader. He's not a trader. I know he's not. Anybody will tell you that just by even looking at the stuff he says when he's trading. He's not a trader. He can't trade for shit. But he must be a very, very good marketeer and businessman. He's definitely got something going because he just wouldn't have that much money. It would have run out by now if he'd just been lucky too and just like had a lucky trade or he'd got into crypto. Like, even if you would have invested 10 grand into crypto when it was like $1,000 or 20 grand, his money would have run out now. His lifestyle, where he goes, where he eats, how he dresses, what he drives, where he flies, where he stays, like these things that he must be spending alone like 10 grand a week. He's got to be. You know, like, I'm not saying that he's a mug. He's not. He's very, very good at what he does, obviously. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to add up his lifestyle and all the things that he spends money on. And work out how much it must be costing him. It's got to be 10. It's got to be 10 grand a week. It's got to be. His cars alone are 10 grand a month. So I would suggest that it's got to be 10k a week. He's on somewhere, and he's not run out of money yet. So he must be accumulating capital at that rate for his lifestyle to continue. So I would suggest that he is. He's got something really, really good, but money-wise, capital-wise, with Astro. I just don't know how he does it though. I don't know how people haven't seen that. You know, it's like it's all fake yet. But as we've said, I think it's the younger generation, under 25, who are looking at all of the stuff, the marketing he does, and thinking, yeah, I want a bit of this. And fair play to the guy. You know, I'm not saying he's a mug. He's not. He's earning way more money than what I am. So from that perspective, is he very successful? Yes, he is. I wished I was, put it this way, right? I wish I was as successful as he is with his business and marketing. And I wish I was that successful with my trading. And I won't be, because if I was, I would be way up now already. Like, that's the level that he's at with his business and his marketing. He must be very, very good at it. He must be. You must be able to sell salt to slugs. I like that one, Dave. I'm going to use that. That's a great one. Yeah, we are all trading slugs, so maybe we'd be up for it. But I'm not slanting the guy, right? I'm not saying he's an idiot or he's a mug or anything like that. He's not. He was. Astro have been very good, very clever at what they've done, and they were the first sort of ones that have done it, right? That Dan Legg, that idiot that I take the mick out of. On Instagram, he's just following them. He wasn't even trading before they come onto the scene. So fair play to them. They were the first ones on it. They're definitely scammers though, definitely, because they don't trade. They don't trade live. I know they don't. But fair play to them. They're making big dough, aren't they? Obviously. Now, whether or not that's right for them to be doing that is another question, isn't it? Like, if you can't trade and you're not trading, but you're selling someone this dream, because that's what they're sort of selling, really, the dream, aren't they? Of being this trader and making thousands, like they sort of portray that they make from trading, but they don't. They get it from the courses. Morally, that's wrong in my opinion, and that's where I come from. Morally, that's wrong because they're convincing people that this is attainable, this lifestyle. It's not. 99% of the people that go in there, I would say it's even higher, 99.5, won't make any money or will not make the money that they can, will mean that they can have that lifestyle the same as them. So morally, it's totally wrong. But from a business perspective, in a perspective of making money and hustling, you have to sort of respect what they've done because they were the first ones that sort of did it. Now, I'm not saying that that's right. I would way more prefer people to be like Mark Minervani and to be the trader, go and trade, make all the money trading, and then be sort of like trying to sell education, how he does, but he's still trading and verifying that he does trade big size and stuff, then fair play to him. But you sort of have to admire somewhere Astro's business acumen and marketing techniques. And do I wish I would have done that like they've done? Probably not. If somebody said to me, do you want to swap places with Astro? I don't think I would, because from a moral perspective, it doesn't sit right with me what they're doing. But, you know, like if they're willing to do that and they're willing to sort of have that hanging over their karma, then can you blame them really? I don't know. So yeah, but I don't like Astro at all. I think they're scammers, but very good at selling stuff, obviously. It's so unbelievably obvious that Sean Lee is a drug dealer. Yeah, I think he might have been. You know, Sean Lee lived very close to me. He come from Stafford. He come from Stafford, and it's about 20 miles away from my house. Stafford is. And on another day, if I had a chance, I'd probably go for a drink with him and have a coffee with him and see what the guy's like. But I don't think he trades. I don't think he does. I think he's just all about the MT4 broker login account. From what I've seen, all of his stuff is always on MT4, and it's always on that Astro broker login, which is fake. So, if you can fake your inputs after the fact and outputs after the fact, it doesn't take a lot to make money as a trader, does it? Ethics are important. I agree with you. Ethics are important for me, anyway. And I would much prefer to do it right than do it what them guys are doing. And if I don't make it, then at least I know that I've been true to myself. And that's just how it is. I wasn't good enough. You know, I can take that then. You know, and then I can move on with my life, can't you? You can get on with something else if you know that you weren't good enough to do that. But if you're just faking it, I don't know how I'd feel. Like I've said it before, I don't know how I'd feel at the end of my life looking back and just think it was all a bit of a con. All a bit of a fraud. You know, I was just leading all them people on. Taking some people's like last 5 grand, selling them the fact that they could potentially be driving a Lamborghini in a year when you know goddamn right that they're not going to be. You're taking their, you know, it might be their family's last 5 grand, it might be their last, you know, like they might have been left that money off the nan or the gran, you know, who's just passed away and left it to them in the will. You're taking that money off them and selling them this lifestyle that they're not, you know, damn right they ain't going to achieve it. Like, from me, from a moral perspective, I don't know if I'd be very happy if I got to the end of my career knowing that that's how I'd made my money. Other people might be totally different and be okay with that, but for me, it just wouldn't rest right. Yeah, Dave, sleeping at night, it's true. And it is a bit of a scam. They're very good at it, though. But, do you know what? There's so many people out there, isn't there, that... And this is what WB Trading does, so... This is what they're like, these guys, right? They ain't bothered about people like me and you that are sitting here now saying like, oh, it's a scam, it's this, that and the other. They ain't interested in that. They're just focused on the people, the sheep that they can get. And that's it. Like that WB Trading is still on. The guy that scammed me is still on YouTube doing it now. And I can go onto his YouTube and call him a cunt or call him this or call him that and call him a scammer. And it makes no difference at all to him, to his psychology. Me, by doing that, I'm just wasting my time by doing it. It doesn't get me anywhere. It doesn't mean nothing to any of the people that are willing to sit and watch him. Because half the time, these people think, oh, he just probably couldn't do it. Like me, who got ripped off by him, they will call me out and say, oh, you just couldn't do it. His strategy does make money. You know, like, and it's like that ICT guy, right? You go onto his Twitter and call him a dick or say he's a scammer, you'll instantly get like 1,000 people or 500 people that are at you in your DM saying, oh, you're a cunt, you don't know what you're doing. ICT's traded an account from 5,000 to 4.6 million in 21 days. And it's like, right, okay, of course he has. But these people, they're just all drinking the Kool-Aid. So you might as well just not bother, because there'll always be people out there for Astro. And Astro know that. And there'll always be people out there for WB trading. And it doesn't matter even if you come on here and spend the whole of I could spend the whole of my life, I could go and stand outside Astro's Mayfair office and try and stop everybody from going in and say, look, you're going to lose your money. Like, don't go in there. Don't. You're going to lose this $5,000 that you've had given to you in your nan's will. You will lose it. You're not going to get that back. Listen to me. Like, I've lost my money. Like, you know, like, this course hasn't paid me. I've been ripped off by WB Trading. He hasn't paid me back. They'd still go and do it, because they'd think that you'd just not done it right. So, is there any point in it? Because these people will always exist for them. And you can end up just concentrating on all of these people rather than concentrating on yourself, can't you? And doing what you need to do to make your life better. And it's like a lose-lose situation, because you're not saving anybody. People can only save themselves, basically. And you can, like, we could all go outside Astro now, a big crowd of us could, and try and stop people from going in. I guarantee the people would still go in. They would. They'd still go in. We could all go onto WBT's YouTube now and put in scammer, don't give him any of your money. He ripped me off, and he didn't give me money back. And all of his trading strategies didn't make any money. That people would still do it. That's the sad reality that we live in. It's just how it is. We each make our own decisions and live with the consequences. Exactly, Steve. We do. And 90% of them would lose their money anyway. Yeah, they would, Jesper. But it just annoys me that these young people who aren't clued up. That's what gets me. They prey on the young and uninformed, uneducated. That's what they do. You know, they want the young uns are in there like 19, 25. These guys would be way better off going to university, or way better off going and get a trade, learn a job, learn something, do something with your life, and get some money together with that money first of all before you give it Astro. And they know what they're doing. Delusional dreams top reality every time. Yeah, they definitely do. That's the society we live in, isn't it? And you're never going to save them. So what's the point, really? What is the point? You're never going to save these people. They're going to do their arse, really, aren't they? So, and it's a big, steep learning curve. But they just do. People do, don't they? You know what, Demo Trader? I sometimes even think like, that way myself. I'm one of the most. I would find it very difficult that anybody would ever scam me or something like that. But as I said to you, that WB trader 3 years ago, he didn't pull the wool over my eyes, but he was doing something very similar to how I trade my 5-minute DAX strategy, and I wanted to have a little look at it just to see if he was, just to see if I could pull any edge from what he was doing. Really, it got me curious with his videos. And he was on Twitter at the time, and he was like, I think even Tom tweeted him, I think Tom tweeted him out. I'm sure he did. And he got me curious, he got me thinking, he got me looking, and I thought to myself, well, it's only 400 quid, and he's saying that it guarantees this much money every month. It was an edge, and I thought to myself, I'll have a look at it, because at the time, I'd sort of been, it was in the very early stages of me doing this sort of strategy that I'm trading at the moment. And I was doing all right, and I just wanted to see if there was anything that I could cherry pick from it and add to my edge. But same as say, like, as soon as I got the spreadsheet through, I knew it was fake. I knew it was wrong. I think in the first month he'd got 2 trades which were totally wrong, where he would have been stopped out if he would have traded the strategy correctly. And he said he'd say that he'd had a winning day when he should have been stopped out. So straight away I was on at him. This isn't right. What's this? And he starts making all like discretionary excuses up then. I'm like, well, you said it's a mechanical strategy. What are you talking about? There's no discretion. There's no, oh, I've just moved my stop down because I thought it was going to reverse there. And then he just went quiet on me for ages. And as I've said, I brought it with my credit card, thank God. I finally managed to worm the money back out of him. But this guy still exists. He's still on YouTube today. He'll come up on any of your YouTubes today. He's still advertising massively on there. I've been told he lives in Manchester in Beetham Tower, which when you look at the rents there, I think they're £3,000 a month. The renters to stay in a decent apartment in Manchester. So he's obviously doing okay. I don't know if he's got any other career or anything like that. I don't know, but obviously he's doing all right. So he's still preying on people now. People are still falling for it. And the best of it is, you go on there and he's got reviews, Trustpilot reviews, all green. And it's like, this is ridiculous. It would be impossible because I know his strategies are fake, and he's still punting the same strategy. So the fake, right? They don't add up. The strategies don't. They'll probably break even at the end of the year. So they're not losing strategies. They're probably about break even, but they're nowhere near what he claims to be. Nowhere near. And he's still selling the same one today, and he's getting good reviews from it on Trustpilot. So that doesn't make sense to me. So how is that possible? It's like, it's crazy. Yeah, WB Trading, Hank. I think Jesper's in here, Dave. The Danish are in the house. Mikos01. Morning, Mikos. How you doing, pal? You had a good weekend, dude? Good to see you in here. Alright, Hank. Hello, sexy. I'm late to this party. How's it going, lads? What have you been doing, Hank? Why are you late? You've just got out of bed? Just rolled out of bed, have you? Yeah, the DAX is going to try and have another breakout. Let's see what happens. There's nothing for me, though, yet. Right, so you can pay for Trustpilot, can you? You can fake Trustpilot reviews. See, I didn't know that. That's something I've learned today. Jesper's in the house. The Danish are in the house. Right, so they pay for them. See, that's just ridiculous. How is that right? The platform is called Trustpilot. So, how ironic is it that you can pay for fake reviews and it's called Trustpilot? Like, oh my God. How does that happen though? I thought that you would have to actually buy the product. So they're just faking sales, aren't they, I bet? Right. Oh God. It's so scummy, isn't it? What a world we live in. The Vikings are in the room. Yes. It's so hot. It's awful. It really is. I just hope everybody's aware of it, and I'm glad that all of you guys in this room are listening to this, and hopefully it will stop anybody doing anything like that at all. Like, be very, very careful with your trading capital. And if you ever do feel like you want to invest in something like that or have education or something, try and use a credit card to do it with. The reason I say that is because if the terms and conditions aren't right, or you think that you've been defrauded in any way, you can actually go to your credit card company, show them the documentation, and prove that something's wrong or you've been missold something, and you can do something called an S75, a chargeback, and your credit card will get the money back for you. That's what happened to me with WB Trading. It was only the S75 protection on my credit card that meant that guy gave me my money back. It didn't get that far. I didn't even need to do that. I just sent him the email from American Express and said, this is what I'm going to do if you don't pay me back, because you're falsely advertising something. You said that this and this happened, and it didn't. The opposite happened. So it's like false advertising. It's basically fraudulent. So hold them to that. And if things aren't quite right and you've used a credit card to buy it with, you can do S75 on it. So have a think about that. It's a little tip for other people. Always use your credit card, guys. I use a credit card for everything. One, because I've got air miles for it. And two, because it keeps me, I've got no sort of... With a debit card, your money's gone as soon as you purchase anything. You get no protection with it. Whereas when you use a credit card, the liability goes to the credit card company, not yourself. And I think it's anything over £100, by the way. So I think it was £400. So that obviously threw the liability onto my credit card company, not myself. And then they have to do the work for you to get that money back, you see. And it's just got a lot more clout to it, hasn't it? My credit card company says they're going to do an S75, so people sort of start to crumble at that point if they've ripped you off, because they know that, you know, they don't want credit card companies looking into what they're doing. Straight away, you'll get your refund back and get your money back. So try and do that. If you are ever tempted to pay for anything like trading, education-wise, use a credit card. Definitely. Yeah, they do. I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of it, Nick, whether they do that or do look into it, or they, you know, they'll try and push it, but they just grab the money back for you. They reverse it. It's called S75, and they literally take it straight off you. How I know this, though, is because I was selling cars, wasn't I? And people used to do it all the time with me with cars. So I actually stopped taking certain credit cards because people would do it like, you know, in the other way now. People would do it on me when there was nothing wrong. So let's say you'd brought a car with your credit card, you'd get it home, right? And if I didn't advertise every single little thing wrong with that car in the description, which is impossible, they would then use the credit card to buy it with, go home with the car, and then do an S75 on me. And I would get a charge back on the credit card. So this is how I know it works, because obviously it used to happen to me with cars. And like, they might have a squeak off one of the brakes, or they might have you know, like an indicator that stops working, or a bulb that stops working, or a window wiper that needs something so small. But they'll do an S75 for the whole amount of money for the car, and then write you a letter saying they're not, even if they've had the car for 2 or 3 weeks, it doesn't matter. They'll write you a letter saying, I'm not happy with the car, you need to come and pick it up, I'm claiming the money back through my S75 credit card purchase protection, and you'd be stuck. Like, the credit card company literally take the money out of your bank, and you're done. You've got to go and get the car. You've got to go and pay to go and pick your own car up, when a lot of the time there was nothing wrong with it anyway. So I actually stopped taking credit cards payments when I was selling cars for that reason, for all of this added purchase protection, and because a lot of the time people would actually use it against me. So that's how I know about it. So I always use a credit. Since that used to happen to me, I use a credit card to buy everything with. So I don't know if that can help anybody, but use your credit card, guys. Debit cards are stupid. There's no reward for using a debit card with anything. There's just no reward. You might as well just not bother. I don't even use a debit card. I don't even have them in my wallet ever. Credit cards, you can get cash back with some of them. You can get air miles with some of them, and you can also get a lot more protection from anything you're buying. So try and do that. Get out of the habit of using a debit card. Yeah, the internet's full of it. Making a living off... Yeah, the fitness... I find the fitness industry very similar to the trading industry, though, isn't it? You know, they're people that are selling people an unattainable body, aren't they? Like, they'll have steroids, or they'll be very, very ripped, but they're only like that. They go out and take loads of pictures at that point in time, and they might not be like that again for 6 months or a year, but they'll get themselves into really good shape and then end up selling... It's unattainable to live like that, really, every week or every month of your life as a normal person. But these fitness people are the same. They'll diet down, they look great while they do it, and then they'll just take loads of pictures in loads of different outfits, loads of different settings, go out for 3 or 4 days, change clothes loads, and then they use that to sort of drip feed into an Instagram account every week, as if they're doing it at that point in time, and it's like real, and that's them at that point in time, but it's not. And then they're selling you that they, you know, like that's how they look all the time, and they don't. It's all fake. Poacher turned gamekeeper. Yeah, that's what happened, Nick, basically. It's just how you learn, isn't it, in life? That's what used to happen to me. So I use it to my own advantage nowadays. I suppose that's how you learn in life. Right, used to compete in powerlifting, Steve. Nice. Awesome. What's your heaviest lift, dude? What did you used to do? Like, what was your sort of move? Or is powerlifting just all of it? So you're doing like all different bits and pieces. What about these companies that offer credit cards? Curious what you think. What do you mean, Demo Trader? Companies that offer credit cards? Like, they're all banks, aren't they? I wouldn't be having a credit card off some fly-by-night company. But if it's with a reputable company like, I don't know, like Lloyd's or Halifax, or British Airways do one with American Express. That's a good one. I've got that one. So you get air miles for everything that you use with your American Express. I've got that one. I have, and I love it. It's really good. Everything we spend, you get air miles for, and it's good. Like you can use it with PayPal. You can use it with anybody that accepts American Express, and you get 1.5 British Airways miles per pound that you spend. And if you spend £10,000 in a year, you get a free flight voucher. That as long as you've got the miles to pay for a business class ticket, you get 2 business class seats for the price of 1. So it's really good. We've got that one, and I really like that card. But you can only use it where they accept American Express, obviously. A lot of places do now, though. It used to be the fact like 5-10 years ago where you'd only ever find like John Lewis's that would take Amex. But now most people, most companies do. I think even Lidl do. Aldi do. So it doesn't take a lot to sort of, if you just put all of your weekly spend through. My wife's business as well, she uses PayPal to pay for all of her for all of her stock that she needs, and a lot of her costs are through PayPal. So she uses that, she links it to her PayPal, and it means that we make a lot of miles every week. So I like that one. Yeah, you have to pay for it though. Yeah, you do. I have to pay a yearly fee for it. I think it's like $190 a year. But every year we make way more than what we spend on it, if you understand. If you understand what I mean by that. So it's like a bit of an investment. There is some free ones though. So you don't have to have that British Airways one which is paid. You can get the Amex Gold if you're in the UK, and that's free. There's no card fee for the first year. It's free. So what we did with that is we got it for the first year and then got rid of it after the first year, because they give you a certain amount of miles if you hit a spend threshold, which we did. We got them. And then after the first year, you have to pay a card fee. But we cancelled it like 2 weeks before the fee was due. So we had a 3 year out of it. It was good. And we got a load of Amex miles in the process. Yeah, it's good. But I like the Amex British Airways one. Same as say, you can get some fantastic flights with BA if you're using Avios. It really is good. Now I can't go anywhere at the moment because I'm not vaccinated. So that sucks. Thinking about trying to get away somewhere in January though, but how it would work for me and my wife at the moment, because we've not been vaccinated, is we have to stay at home for 5 days when we get home, and take extra tests and stuff like that. So it's going to cost us a bit more money to go away, and this is how it is. The unvaccinated, nobody wants you. Yeah, so in Italy 80% don't take Amex because vendors pay a higher commission. I think what happened in the UK is they stopped it, Nick. It was similar in the UK, but about 3 years ago, the UK brought a credit card. It was like a law where they couldn't go over, I think it was like 0.5 or 0.6%. So it's not the same in the UK anymore, which is why a lot more people take it now. Hire a private jet, demo trader. That's not me, buddy. I wish I would do, I would do. I've looked into it in the past, and you can get some good deals a lot of the time. It's not as expensive as you think, especially if you're prepared to get on a leg where somebody else has flown it over there and you're just taking the leg back and you're just jumping on it for fun. It's like £2 or £3 from Paris to London. I forgot what it's called in London. But it's like a small private airport. I think it's like 3,500, and I think from Edinburgh to London it was like 2,200. Yeah, I'm unvaccinated, Hank. I don't know what to do though, right? I don't know what to do. I don't want to open the whole political debate up into vaccines, but I just don't know what to do. I'm not an anti-vaxxer by any means, sorry. But they're going to stop us from going anywhere, really. They're making it very difficult for us to even sort of go on holiday and live your life. So I think we might need to be vaccinated sooner or later, but I'm just waiting. I'm one of these people I didn't want to be at the front of the queue for it, if you know what I mean. I have a friend who works for AstraZeneca. He might even be in the chat today, actually. But he did work for AstraZeneca. He now works for another big pharmaceutical company. And I have another friend who's very high up at AstraZeneca, who used to be my old football manager. he still is. He's very, very high up at AZ, very high up. Won't mention any names or get into anything. But they're not into it. Like they're not out there. I don't, like if they're not into it, they're not jumping at the bit to get it. Should I be? I don't know. Get the jab to make life easier. It would make life easier, Nick. It would. I agree with you. It would. And it's getting to that point now where it probably would make life easier. But I just didn't want to be at the front of the queue for it. And also, I am fit and healthy. Like, I play football. I go for a run. I still feel like I'm pretty fit and healthy now. As a trader and someone that works off statistics, I'm looking at that graph and I'm thinking, right, my age group doesn't need it. I'm more likely to get hit by lightning or, die of getting hit by a car today on the M6. Like, do I need it? Do we need it? Do me and my wife need it? We don't really. I know I'm not saying that if I was 50 and massively overweight and I had other comorbidities, like other problems, go and get it, definitely. You guys, then I would suggest that's a good thing. You need it. And anybody that's vulnerable should go and have it. Brilliant, get protected. But whether or not I need it, I just don't know, and I didn't want to be in the front of the queue, that's for certain. I think they've gone about it in the wrong way, though. I will say this, trying to not get into political, but I'm one of these people that if I get told that I've got to do something, I don't really like doing it. Like, if you tell me that I've got to do this, or I've got to show my papers, or I've got to show my vaccination certificate, like that doesn't sit right with me. That annoys me. I just think that they've gone about it the wrong way. They should have just said to everybody, look, it's there if you want it, go and get it, get protected, don't be an idiot. Or if you don't want it, it's fine. The people that have had it will be protected, but you probably won't be. At that point, I would have probably gone and got it. But the whole thing of like, oh, you've got to have it, and now they're trying to like ram it down everybody's throats and make it very difficult for you to live your life, when largely, if you're under 40, you're going to be okay anyway. If you don't have it, it just seems like a little bit, it just doesn't sit right with me. And that's what's put me off more than anything. Being told that you've got to do something. Like, it's my body. If I want it, I will go and get it. It's my body. Like, if people want it, they can have it. But I haven't had it. But that doesn't mean that you have to like make out that I'm some sort of like second-class citizen now, or I've got to, I'm not allowed to go into certain bars or clubs or something. It's just crazy to me that people, as a society, we would accept that. I don't think it's right. I really don't. And it sort of echoes into what happened in the Second World War. I know it's nowhere near as bad, and I'm not saying that it's anywhere near as bad as what happened, but if you're becoming that, like that two-tier, where does it lead? And that's my problem with it. But I probably will get it. I'm not anti-vax, right? I've got my tetanus vaccination. I'm not anti-vax. I'm not. I just wanted to not be at the front of the queue for this one. That's all. And a lot of it was because, I think if I don't have it, it's an extra jab for somebody that does need it potentially. I wasn't sure that we had full stocks or whatever for a large part of everything. I just didn't know. Have we got enough to give everybody else? It's touch and go at one time, wasn't it? So I didn't want to have mine because I thought, well, somebody older than me who might need it more than me could get theirs, and that was a big part of it as well. Did anybody see that video yesterday, by the way, just to change it off trading for a minute? Did you see that video yesterday that guy with ginger hair did in America? He's got like a long ponytail. Very, very funny. It made me laugh. It was where he's in a swimming pool and it's like it's about the vaccine, but it's not. And this guy's saying like, oh, I want to go for a swim. And he's like, no, you're not. You've got to put a life jacket on. But I'm selling life jackets and you need one to get in the pool. And he's like, well, I don't because I'm swimming and I'm fine. It was really good. That was such a good video. Now that's exactly how I feel about the vaccine. So if you haven't seen it, watch it because it's amazing. I'll try and tweet it out later on because I saw it on Twitter yesterday and it's really funny. I'll put the link out there later on. I think Josh, a guy who I follow on Twitter, who's a pilot. I don't know if any of you follow him. Funny guy. Well, he put it out yesterday. He tweeted it, and it's a comedian, American comedian that's done it. Very, very funny. JP is good. Is that the guy, Mikos? Is that his name? JP? I don't know him. I recognise his face. I've seen him around, and he's recognisable, but I don't follow him. Is he a comedian? I don't know, Mikos. Let me know. He's very good anyway. The sketch that he did, it was like he nailed it so well, and it's like that's exactly how I feel about all of it. And he sort of like, rather than trying to explain it, just watch that video, and he's brilliant. Right? Okay, so yeah, so he's a comedian, is he? JP, it's good. It was really good. I'll tweet it out, Hank. I'll get it on. He's an American comedian, right? He's really good. The sketch was perfect. It was so good. Very interesting. But you do you guys. If you want the jab, go grab it. And I probably will have to have it at some point, unless I want a holiday in Skegness for the rest of my life, which I don't. It's like, just that is my luck, right? I've got the most air miles I've ever had, and I can't go anywhere. Like, that is my luck. That is just what happens to me in life for some reason. It's just stupid. It's just like, you couldn't, I've saved them up for ages. I've saved them up. We're meant to be going Tokyo, by the way. And we can't go Tokyo now. I booked the flights. We should be there now, actually. I think we should be there now. My little lad's wanted to go and see Godzilla because he loves Godzilla. So we're going to take him over there because there's a massive big Godzilla store. I used a big portion of my air miles to go over there, to get us over there with BA. You know, decent seats as well. Not first class, but they were business class. And they cost me a shitload of miles. And now I can't go because I've not been vaccinated. But it wouldn't matter if I'd been vaccinated, to be fair, because Japan just don't let anybody in at the moment. So even if you have been jabbed, you still can't get into Japan. Madness not to get vaxxed. Mark Wogan. Mark, yes, but I don't know if that's the case at my age, Mark. I'm young, Mark. I know you're older than me, but I'm young, and at the end of the day, all the people who are older than me, all of my family who I spend time with, they've all been vaccinated. You know, like my nan, I spend a lot of time with my nan. She's 82. She's been double jabbed. She's going back for a booster. My dad, you know, like, I don't really go into any situations where I'm surrounded by people where I'd feel I'd be putting anybody at risk. Everybody that comes to our house has been double jabbed, dude. They all have. So I don't know if it's madness, because I feel like that if we got it, we'd be fine. The stats would say, Mark, that if we got it, we'd be fine. So I'm just going off that. Like, rather than listening to what politicians or people that might be trying to sell the vaccine or get vaccines into people for money and profit, I'm just looking at the stats and thinking to myself, right, if I'm under 40, I'm fit and healthy, which I am, I don't need it. I hope I wouldn't. I'm touching wood, because you never know. Obviously, if we got it, who would know? I might have a serious complication from it. But I would hope that my immune system would be okay and would cope with it, and I think it would do. I also think I've already had it, by the way, as well. I think I've already had it way back last year at the very start in January. So I do get your point, Mark, but I just don't think I think it'd be cool. Like, I'm 36, right? You got it bad, but you're older than me, aren't you? And you thought that too, right? And I appreciate that, but you are older than me, and I think it does affect people who are older in a way different sort of. It hits them a lot harder. Theory is non-vax can create a new variant that your dad's vaccine may not cope with. Yeah, I maybe Nick, maybe that's the case. I'm not sure though. I'm not sure. I've looked into it myself heavily, and as I've told you guys, I'm not bullshitting you. The guy that one of my very good friends is very high up at AstraZeneca. He hasn't been vaccinated. He doesn't like the testing that they've done. He doesn't think the testing's been done properly. Okay? I'm not lying from that. That is the truth. He doesn't think that the testing's been done correctly or been done as thoroughly as normal. So when you've got these things being put into place where they've said, like, we won't be at fault if any symptoms come of this in 2 or 3 years' time, which has all been signed into law, that would worry me. That's all I'm saying. These are the types of points that worry me. So all the points that you make are all very good, and I get them completely. But when I'm looking into the one, I'm 36, very highly unlikely that anything bad happens to me. And two, they've sworn into law that if something bad does happen to me in 5 years or 10 years time, which is unknown by the way, I can't go back and say, right, you guys have, this has affected my life, I want to take you to court because what I've had hasn't worked how you said it would. I want to, I'm not happy. Something's happened to my body because of this. You guys now can't be sort of at fault for it. They're the things that worry me. Now, if you're older than me, I'm not saying you shouldn't get it. You should do. It's your decision. If you're over 55, 60, as I've said, go get it. Go get it. If you want it, go get it. But for me, the risk reward just isn't there for me. And that's how I look at everything, guys. Risk reward, all the time. Risk reward, right? So Mikos is saying the risk reward says the vax probably poses less risk than COVID. Mikos, right? Now you're risk reward guy. I get that, but the risk reward for future time, at a point in the future, we don't know that risk reward, do we? Nobody knows the risk reward of the future problems that could be down the line that we might not even know about. So that risk reward is unknown to me, so I can't trade on that. I hope that makes sense and I'm not sounding like an absolute idiot here. But if I can't know the risk reward profile of the future 5 or 10 years down the line of having the vaccine, I ain't making that trade. I'm not. And that's why I say I'm at the back of the queue. I'm not saying I will have it, but I just wanted to give it at least a couple of years or 3 or 4 years. And if it means that after a holiday in Skegness for a little bit, then so be it. I'm not hurting anybody. If you've been vaccinated, then great. You're probably fine. The vaccines all sort of all stop new variants to a point. All the new variants that we've seen so far have been stopped, and the vaccines have dealt with them. So yeah, guys, you got to do a risk reward, and I don't know the risk reward profile of further down the line. That's what's keeping me out of it. But I've seen another vaccine that's coming out as well, and as daft as it sounds, my friend from AstraZeneca said that if the GSK vaccine comes out, the GlaxoSmithKline one, he'll be getting that one. So I'm not saying I'm not going to have the ones that are on offer at the moment. I probably will do, but I would, if there was a different one, like one from, I think the GSK one's slightly different. I think I've been told the Novavax one's going to be slightly different, and it's going to be more based around different type of technology, and it's had more testing and stuff done on it. And I'll probably have them. I'll probably go for one of them ones. You have to trade what's in front of you. Right. Mikos, you've caught me out. You've got me. See, that's why that guy could trade. He trades what's in front of him, guys. I love that. What a great quote that is. Read the current chart, Mark. I love that, Mikos. That is such a good quote. That's the quote of the day, that is, Mikos. Trade what is in front of you. Just that. I should have that on my screen there above my chart. That's such a good quote. I love it. Great point. Well done. So the experts say we know from 100 years of backtest of vaccinations that 99% of undesired side effects occur within the first few weeks. Probably, Nick. Yeah, probably. I know. I'll say this though, and I hope Tom doesn't mind, because obviously I'm not trying to call Tom out or anything like that, or say anything about Tom's personal details. But Tom's had the vaccine, and this is what worries me as well. Like I've seen Tom's arm, and Tom's got a lot. Tom's had some problems with I think he's had, I don't know which vaccine he's had, but he's had a few issues with it, where he's had a few side effects. On his first one. I won't get into it about what's up with him because it's personal, but he has had a few side effects off it that aren't nice and are a bit nasty. I hope he doesn't mind me calling that out because I haven't gone into what's actually happened, but he's had some side effects off it. And I'm seeing that. I'm good friends with Tom, and obviously that worries me. So there is things that, I'm not just going off my own sort of thinking. I have seen things that slightly worry me. That's all, as well. But yeah, trade what you see. Everybody's got to trade what they see. And this is probably how I trade as well, Mikos. I'm thinking like last week, I'm thinking, oh, I'm looking too far ahead with my strategy, thinking, oh, this is going to be a loss or that. I'm trying to guess what's happening. You know what? You've hit the nail on the head there, buddy. Trade what you see. That's what I need to start doing. Love that quote. 99.99% of people has no sufficient knowledge to make the call. Even experts don't know everything. We're just humans. We're either way of going into the unknown. Yep, that's it. But that's why everybody's got to do themselves, innit, idea? If you do yourself, then at the end of the day, if anything goes wrong either way, like I'm doing myself now, right? And if I get COVID and have really bad problems, it will be my fault that I haven't been vaccinated. And it's the same if you have your vaccination and you have some problems or some symptoms or you have some complications further down the line. You've made that decision, you've calculated that risk, and if it hasn't worked out for you and you've had some problems, then you've made that decision yourself, haven't you? And that's it. So just each to their own. Girlfriend's had the Pfizer vaccine and had a sharp pain in the shoulder, and it passed after 3 days, Steve. I think that's the bulk of people, isn't it, Steve? I'm not saying that loads of people are having issues with it. I think most people now have been vaccinated, haven't they? Most people have. My views on collective responsibility. Oh, Mark. Oh, that's a bit of a low blow. That's one of them things that you've thrown in there to sort of. I am socially responsible, Mark. I really am. But everybody around me has had it or been vaccinated. I think I've had it. So, my battery's gonna go. I'm plugged it in. Let's wait again. I do get what you're saying. Do get your point, Mark, completely. I really do. But if the actual evidence come out and said, you would not, because let's just get into this, right? If you want to go down the rabbit hole, do you know that COVID-19 itself there's never been any scientific paper that have proved that it even exists. I know you're going to sound like, he's absolutely crazy, but there isn't. Not wading in on the vaccine debate, but try to research your claims. Yeah, we might have to get out of this vaccine shit because it's just stupid. But yeah, collective responsibility for me is all the people around me have been jabbed, and I think we've had it in January. We definitely have. So I don't think we need vaccination. I think I've read as well, by the way, Mark, that if you've had it, if you've had COVID, your body is 16 times better equipped at dealing with it again, and you will have less viral load and 16 times more likely to not spread it to other people and to deal with it again better next time you come across it, right? So I'm sure we had it. I haven't done an antibody test that would tell me, but I'm positive that we had it. We had it when we went to Las Vegas in January, the very start of the pandemic, and we were in a hotel in just by Los Angeles airport, and we were absolutely terrible. And I'm talking like the worst I've ever been, with flu-like COVID symptoms. It was horrendous. And since then, we've been around loads of people that have had it. My little boy's at school, this class is full of it. He's not had it, we've not had it, and we've just not had it. And like the lad sat next door to me, a lad at school, a lad called Jaden, not mention his name. He got a positive PCR test about a month ago. Was poorly with it. Positive PCR. He was sat next to my lad for 4 days, literally on the next chair. We've not had any of it, none of it. My auntie and uncle, they've had it. We've been in the same house as them. Why they've had it, We didn't know. He was terrible. Went on a ventilator and everything. He was in the same room as us for about 8 or 9 hours one day. We sat with them. We've been surrounded by people who've had it, and since we've not had it once. We've not had any symptoms, nothing. But I think we had it in January, so I don't want the vaccine for that reason too. I think we've had it. I think my natural immunity to it is obviously good because we've never had it, and I've been in loads of situations where it's highly likely to get it. My wife's a hairdresser, by the way. She's constantly surrounded by people throughout the pandemic who've had it. Like, she's constantly getting people call her up, say, like she's had to stay at home loads of times because she's had clients in the shop who've had it and not known about it. She's not had it once. But we were really ill, like, at the start of it in January. So I'm sure we had it. I'm sure we've had the actual disease itself. We've got natural immunity. Yeah, you can get tested change. It costs money though, that does. It's not free. That's not a free test. Let's talk about abortion next and then some more politics. Yeah. Angela, how are you doing? You think you've had it? You think you had it in January 20? That's what we do. We think that, Angela. We think that. We think we had it in 2020, January. No vaccine for you either for that reason. Yeah, and that's exactly what we think. Now, I haven't had the antibody test that tells you if you've had it. Apparently, the test is only valid for the first 6 months, and I didn't realise that you could get that test until like way after I thought that I'd had it. So I think the antibody test, which proves that you've had COVID, I think it works better in the 6 months after you've had it. I had it in January 20, so by that test even come around, I think that test didn't even come out until like last August, September. I was way down the line, but I'm sure we had it. So yes, let's get away from the vaccine though, guys. Let's get back to the trading. But it's nice to see. It's good to see some people who haven't had it, and it's good to see people who've had it, and everybody feels very sort of strongly, don't they, about how they are and what they think is the right thing to do. But I would suggest this, right? What the right thing, what you think, is totally probably wrong what other people think. So just do yourself, guys. Don't, try not to be telling anybody else what they should be doing. Just do yourselves. And if you're happy with what your decision was, then that's great. And whatever it was, I wish you all the best in that decision. Let everybody do them. That's the key to a happy world and a happy society, is letting other people do what they think and what that makes them happy, and not forcing into anybody into anything that they don't want to do. That's the key to a happy society. So I'm just with that. Let's just do that. Sierra's in here now. Here comes Sierra. So he's going to try and spoon some stuff around. Might be a long trade here setting up, by the way. Let's have a look. I like the time of this. No, there's nothing setting up just yet. No, it's close though. Could potentially be looking at a long soon. 1 minute to go till the 5-minute candle closes. It's close, See, these are the things that I look at when I'm trading the DAX. First of all, right, we've been out this bottom here. I don't know if anybody can remember, but this is very similar to a day that we had not long ago, where I said to people, if you take the move out the bottom here, normally we get a sort of an equivalent move out the top here. And can you see that? Let me just show everybody. We've been out the bottom there. This is how I see things on the DAX anyway. It might be important, it might not to you. But look how we've been out the bottom there, right? If you take a box and measure the top, You see how sort of like we have one probe, and then we have another probe, and it's very, very similar in size. Also, time that we've been out. You know, 5 in, 5 out, 5 in, 5 out, 5 in. It you know, like that. It means like that if we take the market's in balance here, very, very balanced. But if we take out this here, you know, all of this balance zone, then it's telling me that somebody is pushing us out of that balance. Somebody is willing to take the market higher. And the context of the day's changed, hasn't it? Now, it might mean absolutely nothing again, but it just I think I remember a day type not long ago, which we looked at live, where this same thing happened. What day was it now? Sierra will know, because I'm trying not to... Right, how many minutes have we got? Right, we've got 5 minutes. Let's just go and have a look where that day was. There was a day that's very, very similar to this. I know there was. It wasn't too long ago either. It wasn't last week. Was it last Friday? Where's the balance? No. Just bear with me. There's a day that's very, very similar to this, where we probed the bottom and probed the top of balance, and then we went... Where is it now? I will find you. Can Sierra in the room? Can Sierra tell me? Sierra, it was the day when you sent me a tweet saying guru shit. Let me see if it's... How can I get it now? Because the date will be on of that tweet. Let's just go to Sierra's profile and find it quickly, because this thing might be setting up. Sierra. Let's just see if I can find it on his tweets and replies. His tweet was guru shit, and it was on that day. 3 days. Sarah, I hope you haven't tweeted a lot. Freaking hell, he's done a lot of tweeting. 22nd of September, right. Awesome. Let's go and look at the 22nd of September quickly. It might mean nothing, it might mean something. Where's the balance top? High. There. Duplicate. Where's your 7? Yeah, so the 7's there. Yeah, right, okay, we're on it. Got it. Right, so I said this. If we go out the bottom here, it's highly likely that we go out the top here, and it's the same, very similar type of measured move out the top, right? Look at that. There's your run through the bottom. There's your run through the top. And then we get the second move down and the consolidation beneath, and then move out. And then look what happens. We just go the rest of the day. Now, it's happened slightly later. This happened just before the American session, but this here was a long on my strategy, and it was a good long. Now look at the price action today, and look at what's happened again, right? We have the balance, the move through the bottom of balance. The top is very similar in the measured move type of, it's a very similar type of, we've been through, out, in, out, back in, and then now, is this the move, the consolidation that we saw after that top go in? Is this the move where we make the move up for the rest of the day? So look at the 22nd of September. Thanks for that, Sierra. You've nailed it. Well done. Read the chat. Right, okay. Well, there you go. So this for me here now is setting up. This could be a good long. It looks very similar to the 22nd of September, but the times are slightly different. There's no entry there for me yet. Right, so if this goes here, I'm going to get long here. And my stop's going to go beneath there at 22. Let's see how we close. Let's go slightly bigger. No, didn't make the close. Bastard. Didn't get the entry. Gonna have to wait now. It just pulled back. I needed it to close through that high there. There's a long setting up here though, guys. Bastard. It's just fucking wicked me out of taking that high. That high there, that candle there, if that would have closed through that high, I would have been long. It's just kept me out. Now, someone will say, well, why did you not take the trade anyway? But there's so many times where you can get a trap and it can pull back in, so I'm going to stay on now for the next 5 minutes because there might be a long setting up here on this next candle. Let me just get rid of the dealing box because we've got 5 minutes before I make a trade anyway. But do you understand the context of that? Why I'm thinking that that's a long just by using the balance? Because the context has changed, hasn't it? We've accepted balance all morning with a reversal and a reversal, and we've accepted balance, and now we're not. So that, you know, like, that's not some strategy where you're just thinking discretionary that I'm thinking it might go up. The market has changed. The price action is telling you that, and potentially this could always roll back over. But potentially the market there has changed. The context of the day has changed. Why? Well, because we've been in balance all morning and now somebody's making us push through the top. Could this be a trap through the top and could we roll back in? Yes, but the context, you've got to take note of that context change. So this is how I sort of see the market, guys. This is like how I use the balance to sort of gain an edge in the market. I hope it makes sense to everybody. Now that there is a perfect area for your stop also, this point here, beneath this low. Why is it a perfect area for your stop? Well, because if we mess around here and come back in and take that point there, you can clearly see that by that point we will be inside balance again, so we're highly probable that we could carry on and, you know, like the market hasn't agreed with your bullish idea because it's gone back into balance. So this stop here is a perfect point to put your stop. You know you're wrong on the idea. You know that you're probably wrong. Because why? Because the market's had to come back into balance to stop you back out. So the expansion above balance, which I would try to trade, isn't happening. So the stop would be perfect. And that's all I try and do. Get an entry, put a stop in the right place, and then obviously if it goes your way, try and make some money. And there's no entry here now for me. It would have to be a full green candle, that would. And I know I'd be buying the high of the day probably there. But the context of where we are and how the balance is set up would mean that I don't mind buying high. Because the context has told me that we're probably going to go higher. But we still need this candle to close green. And it's not doing. So it's keeping me out. I like the time though. This is the perfect time for my strategy. Most of my winners come in this period, the ones that I can hold for most of the day. The time is good. Just need the setup to set up now. Heads up, Hank. You might be right there, Hank. Thanks for the heads up, dude. But I've got to take it. I don't look at that hammer on the DAX on the daily, pal. But thanks for the heads up. And more than likely I should be doing, but I don't backtest for that, do I? Tom's strategy, retest of the pin bar on the daily, right? Yeah. I don't even want to look at it, Hank, because it'll make me change my mind. And it'll make me not want to get long when I should be. So I'm not going to look at it. I don't need any persuasion not to take a trade. If this closes like this though, guys, I'm going to get off because it will probably mean that it's not happening. Yeah, we've got 1 minute. And that's why I like to see, right? You've just seen what's happened there. If we would have taken that high out there and closed through with a green candle, the take of this high means something to my strategy. And a lot of the time I'm on here and it saves me from getting into a trade when I shouldn't be. So look at that, yeah? If I would have just steamed into that there, I would have been reversed now and I'd be shitting my pants thinking I've got a loser on when I shouldn't have been in. But just by waiting for the exact point, potentially save yourself, can't you? That looks awful now. By having the discipline to just keep out. You're short, Jesper. Right, cool, man. I like that. You're thinking that this is a reversal then. Where's your stop, Jesper? Nice discipline. Thanks, Demo. Same as say, I don't like to get in unless it's exactly right. A lot of the time I sit here and do nothing though, but it does save you more times than it doesn't by just having that discipline. I agree, Nick. It can still go. It can still go. Just got to see what happens. Not trying to put you off the short though, Jesper. You do you, pal. Could be wrong. Going for 10 pips. See, so Jesper, right? You're trading completely different than me. If you're going for 10 pips, dude, that's good. That's you. But for me, I'm not after 10 pips. This is what I'm saying to you about. I trade different than most people. My strategy is like a call on the end of the day, closing price. That's it. So I'm not too bothered. Not too bothered about all the stuff that happens in between. All that matters is if my position is in profit at 9 p.m. That's it. Because if it hasn't, I've been stopped out. So I'm more of a call on the end of the day and where I think we'll be later on. So my strategy really is more about getting the stop in the exact spot where if we're not going to have the expansion day, I lose the least, and I am definitely probably wrong on that trade bias. I've done it so many times in the past though, you know, like where you've been stopped out and you're still right. So that's why I trade like I do now. I used to be right all the time and still get stopped out loads, and then it would end up just going to where I thought it would. But now my stop was always in a spot where I'm wrong very quickly if I'm wrong, and normally it means that like that it's done, the expansion's done. So you know, like you don't have to sit there trying to get onto anything else because it probably means that the day type's not going to happen what you're expecting. Closed. Jasper's closed. In and out, Jasper. I like it. Palm sweaty, Jasper. Heartbeat ticked up. Let me know how you're feeling. Oh, it's horrible being a trader, isn't it? Or you got the cold-blooded Schiller. You're not bothered. Does things like this not bother you? I'm not going to lie, I do get sweaty palms sometimes. Not on entering, but more so when I'm in a trade, especially if it just keeps going and coming back and going and coming back. That type of thing stresses me out. You see now, I would now need a move. I would now need a move through 72. Because that high now there becomes important to me. This one, 72. So as you can see, right, I was looking for a breakout through that high there. Now I'm looking for a breakout through this high here. Now, is that going to happen? We could come down a little bit and create another structural high just above balance that I would then take along just lower. But at the moment, it's now moved to this high. So it's gone from this one to this high. Like so. You get it as well. Yeah, it's one of them. You're human though, aren't you? So it's difficult, demo trader. I don't know anybody that isn't like that. I think everybody gets emotion has a bit of emotion to them when they're trading. It means something, doesn't it? It is money. You know, it's got to mean something to you somewhere. Because if it doesn't mean nothing to you, then why are you after the money in the first place? Like, it's a contradiction, isn't it? But I've heard that Nav wasn't too bothered. I don't know though. People can hide their emotions very well, can't they? But whether or not you are actually feeling something inside, I think the only way you can do is having a heart monitor on. I think Axe do that, don't they? They have heart monitors on their traders. I don't know why they do that though. But they do. I think I've watched some videos of Axe Futures where Brannigan Barrett, is it? That dude's got a heart monitor on as he's trading the FOMC meeting. Now I don't know what he gains from that. Like, I don't really understand why he's doing it, because I don't know how you could ever calm that down. I don't think you can train for that. Because you can guarantee that you can go and do a replay of it or trade previous ones with demo money or like recordings of past FOMC meetings and you're trading them. But you can guarantee when you're doing it live, your emotions won't be the same because, I don't know, it's like, it's live, isn't it? So it's like Lewis Hamilton, you know, he's probably the best motor racer driver of all time. Like, you know, he's amazing, isn't he? But you can guarantee that if he's on a simulator in the McLaren factory or whoever he drives for, you can guarantee that on the simulator his heartbeat won't be up. But live, trading that Grand Prix live when he's on the cusp of death on every corner really, or, you know, his heartbeat will be up. He's not trying to stop that. He's not gaining any edge from knowing it's up, but it will be up. Penalty takers and World Cup finals, you put a heartbeat monitor on them. Are you gaining anything from it? No. Can you stop it? No. Will their heartbeat always be elevated in that period when they're taking that penalty in the final, in the last minute of the game? Of course it will be. It's just human. So I don't really know what edge they get from it, other than knowing that the heartbeat's high. But you would know that anyway, wouldn't you? My point is. Mark, new potential entry price, but same stop. Yeah, so it'd be the same stop for me, bud. Yeah. It would, yeah. It'd be that swing low there still. So what it does is it stretches my risk reward now, because my risk reward would have been tighter if I got an entry in here and we closed through that one. So I would have made more money on the movement through it, because my risk stop would have been smaller, which meant that I could have got more leverage on the trade. But it's one of them. I have to sort of get the entry right, because I know that there's so many instances in this sort of spot here where you'll get a trap or whatever, and you can end up saving yourself a lot of money by just not taking the first punt out unless you see exactly what you need to see. But yeah, my stop's still here. It would be at 2 ticks underneath that low. It's like 21.3 there. Climbing the wall of worry again by the looks of things, guys. I would have much preferred it if he would have just gone and got on with it. Don't like all this half and half camped outside stuff here that's going on, but I'll still take it if we take that high. What would my stop be now though? Let's have a look. So it's gonna, let's say the entry's at 73. Stop us at 21, right? It's tough, guys. Tough. Got to just wait. Got to wait to see the right setup. It's a grind. It really is. It's slow. Sierra, your points are good, bud. Exactly. There's not a lot of follow through to either side today. No, there isn't. We are above balance, though, Jesper, which means that I have to lean bullish. I'm bullish. I have to be. What have we got? 1 minute till candle close. 11:04. It's coiling. It's getting there. Let's just get my box out on there. Don't think this is the one that's going to push us through though. No. I'm not trying to guess or anything though, guys. This is a valid setup on my strategy. It's just it's one of them, like, who knows what could happen here today. This is the thing about trading, isn't it? Like, nobody knows, do they? I try and tell myself this all the time. Like, nobody knows. Everybody who's in this room now this morning does not know what's going to happen, do they, today? Nobody. Like, I've not got a Scooby-Doo of it. I really haven't. And you can sort of add in anything that you want and get where you think that this thing could go, but nobody knows. It could end up in the middle of balance. It could end up 500 points down. It could end up 500 points up. So who the hell knows? But you've just got to, the setups that appear, you've just got to take them, haven't you? And nobody knows what's going to happen. Does it look bullish at this moment? Not really. It doesn't, if I'm being completely honest. But then, once it starts looking bullish, you're too late, aren't you? Because then everybody can see that it's bullish. It's tough trading, as it really is. Which is why I try not to guess and just try and trade my strategy and have no bias. Because once you start leading yourself down the garden path of thinking that you know anything really, you don't. You just don't, do you? Nobody knows. I'm not afraid to admit that I do not know. I don't know what the hell this thing could do today. You just got to trade what's in front of you at this point in time and hope that, the market agrees with you and you're early. But this thing's doing nothing. So I'm going to call it a day here, guys. I need a cup of tea, my mouth's dry. All this vaccination talk's made me a little bit worried. But thank you very much for I'll tell you for 100k. Who's shilling 100k, Philios? What are you shilling? Yeah, we do. We need the American market to hit the market. But, see, I've noticed a lot of the time the market makes its move just before then. And then you think you're going to get your pullback into America and it doesn't. It just straight lines. So you've got to be in it. If the setups are there, guys, take them. Have no bias. Take your setups. Trade like a ledge. Execute properly. And you'll be rewarded in the long term. But yeah, I'm going to get off. So well done. Well done for everybody. I'm glad you've stopped in. I will see you back tomorrow. Have a good morning. Have a good the rest of the day. And I'll see you back here tomorrow. And hopefully, we might have seen a profit of some sort. But take care and have a good day. I'm going to go have a cup of tea. See you later, guys. Take care.